Hello, good evening, Sharai. How are you?
Good evening, teacher. I'm fine.
Hi, that's great. Great, Sharai. So let's begin with this conversation. Let me know something. I want to know if with you we got to work with the next topic, which was about lying. Did we get to watch that video with you?
Could you repeat, please, the topic?
Yes, lying, telling lies.
Oh, yes. Actually, yes. We see about that. The first part.
Okay. Okay, good, very good. I imagine that we got to see the first maximum, the two, or the second pattern, all right, the first two. So we're going to continue watching that video to keep analyzing the last two patterns that we have, all right, because we have a total of four patterns that we need to understand related to this topic. So as always, please let me share my screen. Give me 1 second. I'm starting everything. But in the meantime, I would like you to tell me, please, Sharai, what you remember about that topic there? What do you remember about the video about lying?
Okay. About a person who lies, present some signal. One of these signals is the person start talking in third person, and another signal is his stay. I don't remember the second one. I think it's he stay negative all the time. Yes, he stay negative, and yes,
Good.
only that.
Great. Okay, good. Yes, then we got to see those two patterns. The first one in which we know that people who are lying, right, they don't talk about themselves, they talk more about others, right? They talk more about others. They use a lot of third person because they want to distance and disassociate from their lie, right? And the second one, yes, you're right. They are lying because in a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. That's why they got to be aggressive, negative, and they use these expressions like my stupid phone battery died, I hate that thing, and so on, right? So those are the first two. Those are two patterns that we can recognize and that can help us when we want to identify when someone is lying. We have two more patterns. These two patterns, Sharai, can be a little bit confusing. So please pay attention to the main words. They are going to repeat a lot many other words, but that's not the main idea. They are repeating a lot other words because that's the thing that it's the opposite of what these liars do. All right. The main idea in this third pattern, Sharai, it's going to be on the first part, and then they are going to explain why they do that. Okay. So let's pay attention. I'm going to play it now. Please let me know if you can hear the video.
Third, liars
Can you hear it?
Yes, teacher, I can hear perfectly.
Good. So let's play it.
died. I hate that thing. Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
All right. That's the third one. I'm going to play one more time. There are two things that are confusing about this third one. First, the explanation can be confusing, and second, the example because it's kind of opposite to the first one, but it has its own logic. Let me play it one more time.
Explain events in simple terms, since our third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
All right, so that's the third one. Let's begin by your explanation of everything that you can understand, please, Sharai. Tell me everything that you can understand, all the phrases, sentences, and ideas that you get.
Okay, it was really difficult to understand because it talks very fast. But what I can hear is the liar explains in simple terms, I think, and then start uh, to talk about mm, okay, I think there's a contradiction of in this part because then in the video explains about something when a person is start to explain or to talk a very struggle, I think, or something like that.
All right. Yes, that word is very important. We're going to see how to use that word because we're going to use it differently. Struggle is like one of the main words here, yes, but we're going to use it more as a verb. All right, we're going to use it more as a verb. So you can say, and these people struggle when they want to lie and say something complex. All right, so but yes, you're very close. The first idea was perfect. Yeah, liars tend to keep their lie simple. All right, and why? Why do you believe this happens, Sharai? Why do they keep their ideas simple? What is behind that behavior?
Maybe mm, a person doesn't want to give a lot of explanation, or a person thinks if if that person give a lot of explanations, he could confuse or finally telling the truth. Well, I think that.
Okay, let's analyze because if you look at the pictures, you're right. You're going on the right path. So this is simple, right? Because this is linear. This happened, then this, and this. This is a lie. It's simple. Why? Because they say that complex ideas, like this one, for example, two things happening at the same time and it has a result, then a consequence, and something else is happening. If you want to tell a complex lie, you really need to think of many things, right? You cannot say, for example, and I took the taxi and I got there at 9:30. But someone who knows more or less the distance between your place and that place is going to say, but come on, a taxi is going to take you there and you maximum can be there at 9 o'clock, something like that. Do you see? If you lie and you say something that is a little bit complex and you want to say more things, it's going to get very, very complicated. Why? Because I'm going to play this part with the captions. You're going to see what he says about that. Here, this is the reason. Since our brains struggle, okay, so they use it as a verb, struggle to build a complex lie. It means that it's not easy to build a complex lie. It's hard. It takes time. And when you're lying, you have to lie immediately. You have to say something now. And you don't have time, and it's too complex, all right, for you to give a complex lie. Look, I'm going to play it one more time. Let's pay attention to those words.
Liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute.
Okay, that's also very important. It says that judgment and evaluation, it means those are things that you need to build something complex. But that's really hard. That's really complicated to compute. It means to organize, to do it when you are lying, right? To have a complex idea, it's really, really hard to get. That's why liars keep it simple.
Evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay, and in this case, yes, they are like contradicting the idea because they are not using third person, right? But as we mentioned, it's not something that happens all the time. It's something that happens a lot, but it's not 100% of the time. Here, this person is using first person, but it's keeping this idea like very, very simple. I did not have sexual relationships, right, or relations with that woman, and that's it. All right. He's not giving more information because it takes time. With that explanation, with those extra words, please, Sharai, let's explain one more time what pattern number 3 is about.
Okay, well, what I understand in this part, it's a liar explain, well, try to explain all uh, all that all things that happen in simple terms. They keep lie in simple because if the liar want to com complex herself, maybe uh, it could be difficult to 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 build a lie. Can I say? So it's a struggle to think some things in some things complex. Yes, that
Okay,
is.
okay, very good. Just two things to even improve that explanation because I think it was great. When you are talking about like a person and you don't want to mention the sex of that person because this is a general example, you can simply use the plural possessives, all right, or the plural ideas. So you can say it's a person who keeps it simple because they don't want, all right, to complicate themselves, right? They only say, you can say like very simple ideas. And when you want to use a possessive, instead of his or her, you have the chance of using their, even if you're talking about singular. All right, that's something about grammar that you can do. If you're talking about one person and you don't want to say his or her, you can say their. All right, and then don't want to, they don't want, or you can say, and that person doesn't want to expose their lie. And as you can see, I'm saying that person, but I'm using plural possessive. It's valid. All right, it's valid whenever you want to keep it very general and you don't want to give a sex to that person. And the other detail, be careful when you use, oh, sorry, when you use the verb struggle. You said the subject, then you said the verb to be, and then a struggle, right? He is a struggle. But no, in this case, you need to use it as only one verb, or if you're going to use it with the verb to be, it has to be in the continuous form, right? So you can say, and that person struggles, right, to do it more complex, or you can say, but that person is struggling, right, to make it more complex. So do those two options. I don't know if you have any questions about those comments, Sharai. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, everything is clear. Thank you very much.
Good. Now let's play. We have 2 more minutes. There's only one more pattern. Please, again, this can be confusing in the sense that it seems that it's opposite to number 3, but it's not. All right? Pay attention to the words. You're going to see that there are different words to being complex. One thing is being complex, and the other thing is being what you're going to see in number 4. All right? So let me play it, and you're going to tell me one more time what you can understand.
And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident." Let's apply linguistic analysis to some with that woman. And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident."
Sorry, Shari, I was giving you some explanation. So that's the four pattern. All right, that was a four pattern. I was telling you the following. They seem to be opposite with the third one, but actually they support each other. All right, they support each other. What can you tell me about this four pattern, Shari?
Okay, this I think this is the most common uh, because a person who lies uh, will start to explain longer and complicated and saying unnecessary words,
Good, good,
and
very
that's
good,
all.
exactly. Uh-huh. And that's not the same as being complex, right? It's still simple, but they add very well unnecessary ideas, irrelevant ideas. They keep turning around the same thing, right? Because if you see the example, how can you describe this example, Sharai? I'm going to play it one more time.
And say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident.
What can you tell me about that example? Is this example really giving you a lot of information, or is it one simple thing that is being like filled out with unnecessary, irrelevant information and words that seem to be great words? And they use this interesting adjective that you can use. Uh, Sharai, I'm going to show you. Give me a second. This factual sounding details. It means that they use words, they use details, and they sound like very factual. It means, wow, that's kind of the result of a study or the result of a big work, but actually, no, right? They sound complex, but they are not complex. They sound complicated, but they are not complicated. They are only irrelevant, factual sounding details, and they are irrelevant, right? And they are very irrelevant. So please, to finish this up very quickly, please, Sharai, if you can give me one more time the summary, the short summary of the four patterns that we got to learn with this video. Are you there, Sharai? I think your microphone is still off.
I'm sorry, teacher. Yes, my microphone was off.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
let's do it.
the four patterns. The first one is start uh, with a person who talks start to talking in third person, and do not that the person does not get involved on the explanation. The second one is a person could be get more aggressive or negative. The third one, the liar explain simple terms, and the last one is when a liar start uh, explains with complicated and longer saying unnecessary words, and that's
Good.
all.
Great. Yes, that was a great summary. Well, you're right. Those are the four patterns then to recognize, identify liars. That's it. We're finishing then this conversation with that, Sharai. Please, if you have some other questions or comments, you can let me know by writing to the WhatsApp group. If not, we're going to start a new topic in the next conversation. All right?
Okay, teacher, I have no
Great.
questions. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Have a good night then and see you in class, Sharai. Bye bye. Hello, Lourdes. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine, thank you.
That's great. Let's begin with our conversation, Lourdes. You know that with you, we are watching something related to marketing. I want you to tell me, please, if you got to watch the entire video, if you had the time to do it first, Lourdes.
No, teacher, I didn't have time. I was really, really busy.
Don't worry, all right? You can do it whenever you want because you can learn a lot of interesting vocabulary related to influencers, to marketing there. That's going to be for you to do it when you have time. But today, as I told you, we're going to start with a new video also related to marketing, which is this one over here. First, we're going to remember a little bit about the last video. It was about influencers, right? This is like a digital revolution. We're using a lot of social media. We're using things that we didn't use, right, before. That's why we consider that we're in this revolution. Also, they mention, or well, she mentions that influencers are a big part of this change, but influencers are something new. Enterprises, companies, they don't know the parameters of how to deal with influencers. How much do you pay them? When do you pay them? And how you do that, right? So this is something new. Companies are trying to understand that. And there are other companies as these girls, right, that are going to try to set some parameters that are going to try to help you out to be in contact with influencers and to have like a good relationship with them so that that job, right, can be successful. That was more or less the idea. And in the rest of the video, you're going to see some other interesting details. But now we're going to see something that again is related to marketing. And the title is There's No Luck, Only Good Marketing. First, Lourdes, what do you think about this saying? Do you think that this is accurate or do you think that it's, I don't know, incorrect or 50-50? What do you think about
I think that it's true because I think that almost here in Bolivia there is so many people that thought that because they use Facebook and other kind of social media, they thought that they are experts in something, and it's so common to listen that, for example, I don't know, maybe there is um, a new business, and the owner said that um, her nephew or her cousin, I don't know, it's manage their social media, because he or she is young and have the enough knowledge to do it. But I think that's not true, because there is so many things, so many measures and other things that we have to study and we have to analyze to have the enough knowledge and have the abilities to do the activities of marketing in a good way.
Okay, good. I agree with you. Marketing is not easy, right? It implies many other activities, like you said, right? Studying something, analyzing something, so that you know that you're going to get to the right people, right? Yes, what you say is very common. Usually we think that because someone is young and they use a lot of social media, they are experts in using that platform. But that's not correct, right? The marketing media, right? The place in which you work with marketing on Facebook and so on, it's something different, right? And it implies that you understand that in a better way or in a different way, and then you also have some studies, right, to understand when it's going to be a good decision to do something or not. So good. I agree with that. The marketing is complex, can be very complex, and you need to have a lot of knowledge related to that. Let's watch this video and let's see what they are going to say about this good marketing and what good marketing is. So let's pay attention, please. I'm going
To Amsterdam to study business and economics. I worked in a bank in my hometown, Munich. And I left this bank for one particular reason. Because even though the people there earned sufficient amounts of money, they all seemed dissatisfied with their life. They were frustrated with their career opportunities. They were unhappy with their relationships. And they were constantly stressed out. But these people, they all had one thing in common. They did not want to change it. And even outside of the bank, I kept on meeting people who were unhappy with their lives, but unwilling to change them. And every time these people saw somebody who had a great relationship, who was happy with his job, or who seized a great opportunity and was successful, those people just said that this person was at the right time, at the right spot, and got lucky. We all know it, right? However, when you study marketing, you're
Okay, until that part. That's a very interesting right introduction. He's mentioning about some things related to his life, but related to the people who was surrounding him and the things that they said right when they kind of saw certain kind of people. So, what can you tell me about this introduction, Lourdes? What are you able to understand here?
Okay. First, I think that I couldn't understand very well everything because he has a special accent. I don't know where he is, but I understood that um, I think that he works or worked in a bank, and there were so many people that wanted to be I don't know how to say happy, successful, and they were sad. And when they um saw um, a, a happy person, a successful person, they used to say that this person was in the right time, in the right moment, and it was only about lucky.
Okay, good, good, very good. You can say in the last part, you only about luck, or you can say about being lucky. Okay, you have those two options about luck or about being lucky. So, yes, it's hard. You're right, Lourdes. That's a great observation. He's from Munich. It means that he's German. All right, he is German. And yes, his accent is special. Sometimes he uses like different kind of expressions, but I think that uh, again his level is very very high. Of course, he's able to transmit everything with very complex ideas, and I think that you understand the main idea over here, Lourdes. You're right. He's surrounded by people who thought or who still, all right, think that successful people are successful only because of luck, right? The right place, the right time, and that's it. They don't have a different idea about being successful, but being lucky. So good. With that introduction, which again, you have the main ideas over there, let's keep watching, let's keep listening to him to see what he's going to say about that.
you realize pretty quickly that products are always at the right time at the right spot. Just, ah, wait. Take this Coke can, for example. Ladies, by the way, I'm sorry to disappoint, there was a Coke can in my pocket. Every time you're first... ah, good times, good times. However, every time you're thirsty, I can assure you 100% that there is a Coke vending machine just around the corner. And in fact, there is one right in this corner of the room. Coke vending machine right there. Do you want a free Coke? Nice and warm, my friend. So is Coca-Cola just distributing these vending machines at random and got lucky that people bought it? Or do they have a marketing department which actually thinks about it, how to position them, and how to reach out to the customers? It's quite obvious, right?
Okay. So of course he has a different position to right to that position that the people he was describing at the beginning have. What can you tell me about this second part to finish this conversation, Lourdes? What were you able to understand? And what do you think that this person thinks about being luck or lucky?
Okay. he started to talk about the marketing strategy because he makes some jokes at the first, and then he mentioned that there is so there is people that maybe in that moment um were 30. So and then there were and there are so many Coca-Cola machines, maybe in every corner. And then he said that he makes a question and said, "Do you think something like that? Do you think that the it's about the luck that some person pass near from this machine and buy one Coke, or it's about the marketing strategy of the company, um, that there is a marketing team that thinks in in this in these marketing strategies to make that the persons that are thirsty buys a Coke when they pass near from a machine.
All right, good. Yes, you're right. That was the ideas he was talking about. To finish this up, only would some little things that are going to help you out. You can say you can call to those machines like vending machines. All right. So yes, vending machines are going to be machines in which you're going to find many kind of like beverages, right? Vending machines. Good. Yes, he doesn't believe in luck. He believes that that was the result of a marketing strategy or something else that was thought by a person or a team, right, that decided to have a machine or a vending machine over there because perhaps there are a lot of people that go to that place every day and they believe that it's very likely that someone is going to buy, right, a Coke from that vending machine. Good. That's it then, Lourdes. We're going to finish this out here. We're going to continue with this conversation the next class. You can watch again if you want parts of this video. Let me send you. We're going to keep watching it together, at least one more conversation, but you can watch it by yourself if you want so that we can cover a lot more because you know that sometimes it's hard. I like to go little by little so that we know all the words, but you have the link there. And if you get to watch it, we can cover a little bit more. If not, no problem. The idea is that we can see at least a little bit about this. Do you have any last questions or comments to finish this, Lourdes?
No, teacher, everything is fine. It's clear.
Good. Very good. That's it then. Thanks for being in this conversation. Have a great night, and I'll see you in class, Edward.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye bye. Hello, Mariana. Are you there?
Hi, teacher. Yes.
Hello. All right. So, would you first, before showing you this, I'm going to stop sharing my screen a little bit. We're going to continue watching the video about lying, right? We were learning about some patterns that tell us, right, when someone is lying. First, please, I want you to tell me what you remember about that video, Mariana.
I remember that the video show that the liars don't talk about them, and they talk in third person. Um, and I think that it. I think that it is all.
Okay, one more time, please. So we got to watch, if you remember very well, right? We got to watch like two patterns, right? Like two patterns to identify when someone is lying. The first of them mentioned this idea, third person, and the second one mentioned this idea, being negative. What details do
Oh
you
yes,
remember?
I I remember that the liar talk in a very negative way because they feel guilty, and they don't want to be related lie with the lie, and it's for for this they don't talk about they.
Okay, good. Yes, very well. And the second one, pattern, you said it very well. They are very negative, aggressive, because in a subconscious level, right, they feel guilty about lying. That's why they are aggressive sometimes. They are negative, and they say things like this, right? You see on my screen, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. So that's being negative. Why? Because that person is lying, and that person, again, unconsciously or subconsciously feels that a bad feeling, right, about lying, feels guilty about lying. And in the first one, yes, you said it very well. They don't talk about themselves, right? They don't like to talk about themselves. They talk more about others. They use a lot of third person. And why? Because they want to distance and disassociate themselves from the lie, right? So we have those two patterns. That was the summary of those two patterns. We're going to continue by going to the third one. So one advice, all right, or some advice for this part, for this third pattern, Mariana, pay attention to the first part. The answer and the main idea of the third pattern is in the first part, I think in the first 5 seconds. The rest
Okay.
explanation is going to be to show you why they do that. And they start mentioning a word that is opposite to the main word. All right, a word that is opposite to the main word. So be careful with that, because many people confuse that idea and they say the third pattern is this one, but actually it's the opposite. All right, again, pay attention to the first seconds, and the rest of it is going to be the explanation of why it's not the opposite. So let's listen to it.
Liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
All right, that's the one. I'm going to play it one more time.
Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay, that is the third pattern. What can you tell me about this pattern, Mariana? What were you able to understand?
I I don't understand very well. It was very fast, but I don't know if is that the liar don't tell much about the lie.
Tell.
I think that it's like a a very eh, como larga, o sea, bastante eh, complete story,
Okay, you're saying that it's a long story, a
a
complete
long
story.
story,
Then would you say that is simple or complex?
like complex. I think.
Okay, let's analyze one more time together. And now I'm going to repeat the words after you. So this is going to help you also in working some listening skills. But let's understand together. So let me play.
Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms.
Right? This is the first like part, and actually the answer is already there. They say third, Liars explain, right, their lies in simple terms. All right, they usually explain their lies in simple terms. And actually, there's the answer. Their stories are
Okay.
not complex. Okay, the opposite. They want to keep it simple. And why? I'm going to repeat the reason.
since our brains struggle to build a complex lie.
Since since is the same as because. Since or because our brains struggle to build a complex, all right, lie. What is a struggle? Do you know the meaning of struggle, Mariana?
Like confused, I think.
Yeah, very close to confuse. It's going to be more related to have problems, have difficulties with something. All right.
Okay.
So your brains, when you say that your brain struggles to build a complex sentence or a complex idea or a complex lie, it means that it's not easy for your brain. Okay, that your brain has some difficulties because it's hard to do. So, all in all, you can say liars keep their stories and their ideas simple because their brains and our brains in general struggle, have difficulties when we want to create a complex idea. And we have more information.
Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute.
Okay, judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. It means to understand, to process. All right, so that is why liars are going to say something simple like, for example, I didn't have time, or this happened, and that's why I couldn't do it. You're going to see in the fourth pattern that they do something similar to being complex, but it's not being complex, it's something else. The idea is very simple. Why? Because if they say complex stuff, they need more time. If you want to think of a complex idea, you need to see of the coherence of that idea, the common sense of that idea. And you can be saying things that the other person is going to say, but come on, that's not true, right? So they rather keep it simple because making a complex idea that sounds convincing takes more time, it's more complicated, and you need to think of many, many possibilities. And sometimes the liars don't have the time to do it. They need to lie right away. That's why they keep it simple. So with that extra explanation, I'm going to play it one more time, Mariana, this time with the captions. You're going to explain this third pattern to me. All right, so let me turn on the captions and let's listen to it.
Third, liars typically explain events in simple terms, since our brains struggle to build a complex lie. Judgment and evaluation are complex things for our brains to compute. As a US president once famously insisted, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Okay, so how can you explain the third pattern one more time, Mariana?
Okay, I can explain it in the way that the liars don't say a complete say like a concrete story that are very short, because if they say a large a complete story, they can it's very difficult to have a coherence with that.
Okay, good. Yes, we can say that it's short. You're also going to see in the fourth pattern that it can be long, but it's still simple. All right. So the main idea here it will be that it's simple, even though it's short or long. It's simple because they don't want to use complex ideas. Right. So good. Now let's watch the fourth pattern because you're going to see that it's a complement of the third pattern of this one, but it seems, all right, at the beginning, it seems that it's the opposite. But you're going to understand. Please be careful because it's not the same saying that you have a complete idea than a complex idea, right? It's something different. And also, it's going to be something different to have a complex idea than a convoluted idea or an idea that has many things, but they are not complex. So let's pay attention now to the fourth pattern Because again, it's going to be like a complement to this third one, and we're going to have some extra explanation. Let's pay attention.
With that woman. And finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident." Let's apply.
Okay, that's the fourth one. Then we play it one more time. And again, have in mind the following, Mariana. The idea is simple, all right? And in number 4, they also say that it's simple, but they add extra information about what happens with that simple idea. So, one more time.
Finally, even though liars keep descriptions simple, they tend to use longer and more convoluted sentence structure, inserting unnecessary words and irrelevant but factual sounding details in order to pad the lie. Another president confronted with a scandal proclaimed, "I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident."
All right. So, one more time, please, Mariana. Let's begin by you. What were you able to understand about this 4 pattern?
Okay, I understand that the liars can tell a long story, but many times they use unnecessary words for make it longer. I think for make it longer, and like I don't know if it's evadir, like evadir, eva.
Okay, you can say evade, to evade,
Evade,
or avoid.
exactly. Avoid the true or the central idea.
Good. Okay. Okay, that was interesting. Yes, this sentence, and yes, it can be long, but more than long is this like appearance of being more complex, but actually it's not complex, right? It's still simple, but yes, you use a very important word over here, Mariana. Unnecessary. Yes. So it's simple, but it's convoluted. It's filled out with unnecessary information, with irrelevant details, with fact or right or factual sounding information. It means that it's simple, but they do things like this president is doing, right? I'm going to play this one once again for you, Mariana, and tell me if the idea of this president is simple or is complex. And if it's simple, is it filled with unnecessary information, with irrelevant details, with factual sounding details that make us think that it's complex, but actually it's not? Let's analyze. So let me play it.
"I can say categorically that this investigation indicates that no one on the White House staff, no one in this administration presently employed was involved in this very bizarre incident."
So what do you say about that idea, Mariana, to finish the conversation? Is it simple, complex? Is it filled with unnecessary or relevant information? What do you say?
I think that it has many words that are unnecessary, and they repeat some words but with other, like the same uh, like repeating the word and saying the same but not with the same words. I don't know how
Okay.
to say it.
Yes, you can say he's using some synonyms, and yes, that's a great
Uh-huh.
analysis, Mariana. You're right. This person is not saying something complex. It's something very simple, but he's repeating the same idea once and over again to have the appearance of being complex, but actually it's not, right? Because this person is lying. So that's it. Let's finish here, please, Mariana. You have the link of this video in the chat. Please, you can keep it watching it if you want to have more information about it. But the next class, we're going to watch a different topic, okay, a different video with a different topic to continue learning some new vocabulary. All right?
Okay.
Good. Perfect. Thanks for being here then, Mariana. Have a good night, and I'll see you in class.
Okay, teacher. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Good night. Hello, Luciana. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, teacher. Everything's fine.
That's great. Great, Luciana. So let's take advantage of this time. I'm going to share my screen one more time. I have a different conversation for you. It's a different topic, also related to music. And this one is related to how to read music so that we learn some other vocabulary related to this field. All right. Let's begin. I want to know first if you have any questions about something. If you got to watch the class, yesterday's class, Luciana, I know that you had some problems, but you know that all classes are always recorded. And if you go to the YouTube channel, which is in the on the classroom, all right, you can go there, go to the channel and watch the classes that you want. The last class was the sixth class, so you can look for it and get the information that you need. Okay?
Okay, teacher.
Third, liars
Sorry.
typically explain events in simple
It's okay.
terms, since our brains struggle to build
Sorry,
a complex.
my computer was making a sound, but yes, yesterday I was having some connection problems, but today I'm gonna to see the class. So for the class of tomorrow, I'm gonna be
Okay, that's
with
great.
everything complete.
Great, great, Luciana. Remember that it's up today, right? Until today, you have to complete the second unit, okay? Because today, also after these conversations, I'm going to assign the second quiz. All right, it's
Okay.
always like that. If you go to the presentation that says Pearson, Luciana, you're going to see all the dates. So the second unit was until Monday, but I gave you to all of you, right? I gave to all of you one extra day, which is today, and tomorrow we start the third unit, and the third unit is going to start tomorrow, and it's going to be until Monday, and it's going to be like that with all the units.
Okay, teacher, and the quiz or the test is gonna be available today after this class, right?
Exactly. Today after this class, and you're going to have until Friday to complete it. Okay, so you have a lot of days. But remember that
Okay.
once you open the test, you have to complete it. All right? You have
Okay, the test
60.
is for Friday and all the rest of assignments are for today, right?
Exactly. And of course, you can take the quiz if you want. You can take the quiz today after the conversation. You can take it tomorrow. You can take it any day, but maximum on Friday. All right? Good. So let's start with this topic then, Luciana. Again, how to read music. You know that musicians use something that is called sheet music. All right. And what is sheet music? Sheet music is like the place, the papers, all right, or the material in which they write their music. All right. That's sheet music. And of course, they need to know how to read it because it's something different, right? So let's pay attention to the details of reading music in English, of course. Let me play it.
When we watch a film or a play, we know that the actors probably learned their lines from a script, which essentially tells them what to say and when to say it. A piece of written music operates on exactly the same principle. In a very basic sense, it tells a performer what to play and when to play it. Aesthetically speaking, there's a world of difference between, say, Beethoven and Justin Bieber. But both artists have used the same building blocks to create their music: notes. And although the end result can sound quite complicated, the logic behind musical notes is actually pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at the foundational elements to music notation and how they interact to create a work of art.
Okay, so before going to that foundation and understand how to read music, what can you tell me about that introduction, Luciana? What were you able to understand about it?
Okay, in this first part, I think that the most important thing is that are talking about how we can compare the work of an actor with the work of a musician in the way that when you are actor, you have like a paper to make, and you have in that paper like everything you have to say and when you have to say it, and the I don't know how to say this, but how can I say the relación?
It depends. With what? What do you want to relate? It depends on that.
Relación entre estos dos, como like
Okay.
for compare.
Yes, no, you can say only that, the relation, or you can say also other words, the similarities, or yes, only the relation would be enough over there, Luciana.
Okay. The relation of these two and how I think are similar is that because when you are musician, you can read like the notes and everything.
Okay, that's great. Actually, that's great. Some people struggle a lot with this part of the video when the ones I watched it, because the accent is a little bit different, right? But it's great that you're able to understand that. It means that you have very good listening skills, and that's very positive, Luciana. Good. Yes, it was a comparison, right, between what an actor does with the script, right? So you can call that paper a script, right? With the script that the actor has to memorize, right? Because all the information and all the
Okay,
things that
sorry,
he
teacher. Thank you
tell
very
me,
much.
tell me.
But how can I say that? Instead of saying the paper is script, I don't know.
Yes,
There's the,
script. Okay, I'm going to write it in the chat.
okay,
That's what actors use. Okay,
okay.
script. So they use a script because a script is literally, right, a document in which you're going to have all the words that an actor, right, needs to say. That's in a script. Yes, and they are comparing, right, how actors read the script, how they need to memorize those scripts to act, and musicians, right? What musicians do with, you have two names for that thing that musicians read, Luciana. One is sheet music, all right, and the other one is score. That's what musicians read, all right, sheet music and or score. So they also do the same. They have their sheet music, they have their score, and they need to memorize the notes that they have over there.
Sorry, teacher. One more question. I'm not sure what is the meaning of those two words, sheet music and score in Spanish.
Yes, of course. Let me show you a picture. All right. I prefer to avoid the use of Spanish. So you're going to see what is sheet music. All right. Give me a second. Again, it's the document in which musicians write their music, write
Okay,
the
okay.
write everything. Okay. But just in case, let me show you just in case. But I know that you understood what it is. But to be sure about it, right? This is sheet music.
Okay.
All right. Good. So musicians, similar to what actors do, they have to read and memorize their own information, which in this case is located, right, in sheet music or scores. And yes, that was a great comparison, and you got to understand that very well. Now we're going to talk about the foundation of music notation. Now, what is music notation? Music notation is the process of writing this.
Okay.
Okay, how you write music over here. That is music notation. The notes that you use, the figures, the value of those figures, and all the elements that you use in sheet music so that you can read it and interpret, all right, that composition. So let's keep watching from this part.
Music is written on 5 parallel lines that go across the page. These 5 lines are called a staff, and a staff operates on 2 axes, up and down and left to right. The up and
Okay, that part. We're going to say one last thing, but what can you tell me about this first part of the explanation
Okay.
about music notation?
In this part, it
axis
was
tells the
talking
performer.
about how we have like 5 lines that are called stuff, and I don't really understand that well, but it was talking like it goes to the right and to the left. I think that after two lines, I'm not sure about it, but I was able to understand that.
Good. We're going to watch it one more time. In that part, they are explaining how you read that. And do you remember what is the name of these 5 lines and 4 spaces?
Staff or something like that.
Good, perfect. That's a staff. All right. The staff is a very important part of sheet music. Good. Let me play one more time to finish the conversation. Again, he's going to explain how you read music. You're going to tell me, Luciana, if we read music from left to right or from right to left. If we read music from up to down or right or the opposite. Right? That's what you're going to tell.
Okay.
Music is written on 5 parallel lines that go across the page. These 5 lines are called a staff, and a staff operates on 2 axes, up and down and left to right. The up and down axis tells the performer.
Okay, until that part. So, what can you tell me one more time about the
Um,
staff?
okay, it works reading up and down and left to right.
Good, exactly. Very good. Yeah. You only can read the staff left to right. It's impossible to read it backwards, right? Or in reverse. You can say in reverse or backwards. And yes, you have the options of reading this up and down. All right. And this is the pitch. What is the pitch? The pitch is going to tell you how low or how high the note is, right? If it's low, it's going to be in the down part. And if it's high, it's going to be up there. All right. That's the pitch. The pitch of your voice is how low or how high the note is. All right. The note that you are singing is. Let's finish with this information, please, Luciana. There's a lot more to watch. I know we're going to watch this and perhaps in the next class, but I want to ask you if you have any questions about this, Luciana. Let me know, please.
No, teacher, I think that it's okay. I only have at first that two questions about the meaning of that words. I have to say that words or refer me like those words.
If it's like plural, you have to say those words. You cannot say that words.
Okay, yes,
Okay.
so I only have at the beginning a doubt about those words, but after that, I think I understood all the video and that.
Good. Perfect, Luciana. You know, we're going to keep watching this video because I know it's going to be really interesting to understand this vocabulary, all right, and to know at least the basics of how to read music. That can be interesting for you. Perhaps if you get interested in keep learning or in start learning the guitar, as you told me, it can be a good tool to start with. All right. So that's it. I hope you have a great night, Luciana. We're going to keep watching this video in the next conversation, but I'll see you in tomorrow's class. Okay?
Okay, perfect, teacher. Good night, bye.
Good night. Bye bye. Hello, Whitney. Good evening. How are you?
Hello, teacher. I am fine, thanks.
That's great. That's great to know, Whitney. So let's work with you. I have a different topic for you, and it's going to be related to this one over here. All right. This topic is about lying. Do you know this word, Whitney? Lying. What lying is?
And no, that's my first time that I hear this word.
Okay, this is a video that we were watching with a lot of your partners because it's interesting, all right? It has a lot of interesting words, new vocabulary, and also it's important to see this because this is something that happens a lot. Lying is the act, all right, or the action of not telling the truth, all right, of not telling the truth. When you don't tell the truth, you lie, right? That is lying. For example, if I ask you, right, or if someone asks anybody, how are you? And that person says, I'm fine, but actually the person is not fine, right? That is
Yes.
lying. That can be lying. But there are levels of lying, right? There are lies that can be very, very bad. And there are simple lies that we all right, do. That's why they say at the beginning of the video, we're not going to watch that part, only this part over here in which they talk about the patterns. In the first part of the video, with me, they say that we hear from 10 to 200 lies a day. It means that people lie a lot. And again, lies can be very, very big lies or very small ones and very common ones because you don't need to tell the truth all the time because perhaps you don't trust that person, right? Perhaps there are other reasons why you are not going to tell the truth to a specific person. So it's not always bad, but it happens a lot. What do you think about lying then with me? How often do you think that it happens in your case? And how many lies do you think that you listen in a day with me?
Okay, I think that I lie maybe 5 times per week because I really don't talk with um, other person because I am only study for my university, you know. And for example, when I have to go out with my friend and I don't want, I usually say I don't have time or I have an activity with my family.
Okay, good. Yes, those are very common lies. And those are not like big lies, right? That's not going to hurt anybody, but it's something that we say to avoid something else, right? Good. But what about you? You don't say many lies because you are like with your own activities, right? You're not in contact with a lot of people. But what about you? Do you think that you hear a lot of lies from other people? I don't know, it can be friends and so on. And again, I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm saying this in a normal way. Do you think that you listen or hear to many lies in a certain period of time with me or not that much?
Yes, I think that if I have free time and talk with some friends, maybe per day I hear 10 lies.
Okay, okay. I think that's in between the number that they were giving us, right? They say that 10 can be an interesting number. And it's interesting, and this is another question for you with me. What kind of people do you think that are those people who hear at least 200 lies in a day? Because according to this video, okay, and this video is about TED, they don't
Mhm.
use fake information, all right? They use facts. So they say that in a study, a person gets to hear from 10 to 200 lies a day. So of course, like people who are only talking with their friends are going to listen 10 lies perhaps. But who do you think are these people who listen or who hear 200 lies a day? What do you think is their jobs perhaps? What do you think they do for a living so that they hear so many lies?
I think that the first person is a sales person because you know when you want to sell
Yeah.
something, you trade with these people, and usually people say I come back later or uh, see you later or give me your phone and you call, I will call you. And maybe other person is people that work in the government. um yes, I think that's this.
Good, good. That's a great analysis with me. I agree with you. Definitely, right? Salespeople are the ones who can hear a lot of lies, right, in a day. There are many, many other people who tell them that they are going to do something that they are not going to, right? And of course, that's a lie. So, yes, I agree with you. Those two professions perhaps are the ones that hear or listen to most lies and also that can say a lot of lies too. Because sometimes to sell something, not all the time, but sometimes some people who sell or who want to sell something, they say, right, something that is not true. So, with that information, let's start with this video. Look, what we're going to analyze first with you, with me, is the first two patterns because there are four. These patterns are going to make us understand and are going to help us identify when someone is telling a lie, when someone is lying. Okay, again, four patterns, but today we may only watch one or two. Let me play the first one. You're going to tell me everything that you can understand with me. It can be a little bit complex. They speak fast sometimes, but try to get some important ideas. So let's play it.
In the subconscious language of deception. First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here.
Okay, that's the first one. I'm going to play it one more time.
Okay.
They are explaining what liars do when they lie. All right, and this is linguistic text analysis. It means that we are trying to analyze the words that they use, the things that they say, the conjugations that they make to identify when someone is lying or not. So one more time, the first part.
Subconscious language of deception. First, liars reference themselves less when making deceptive statements. They write or talk more about others, often using the third person to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. Which sounds more false? Absolutely no party took place at this house, or I didn't host a party here.
Good. So what do you get from this first pattern, Whitney? What can you tell me about liars and what they do?
I think that's something that the lies refers about of third person usually.
Good. Yes, that is very, very important. Perhaps that's the main idea over here. Third person. So liars speak in third person, right? And why? Why do you think that liars use third person when they speak?
Because they don't want to have the responsibility about this lie.
Good. Very good. That was very well explained. Exactly. The responsibility, and also because you're going to read these words, they want to distance and disassociate themselves from their lie. All right, that's why they use third person. Yes, they don't want to like be in charge of that responsibility, but also they want to be away from the lie. That's why they don't say like I, right? Not 100% of the times, of course, not 100% of the times, but most of the times they prefer to use third person to be away from their lie. And this is one question that was mentioned here with me. Liars talk more about themselves or talk more about others?
Talk about others.
Yes, correct, right? And that's it. That is the first pattern. Liars talk more about others. They don't like to talk about themselves.
From their lie.
They use a lot of third person conjugations because they want to distance and disassociate themselves from the lie. That is the first one. All right. I don't know if you have any questions about any words here with me. Let me know, please.
No, I understand.
Good. Now we have 1 minute, but this second, let's say, pattern is very, very short. Let's pay attention, and you're going to explain one more time what this second pattern is about.
Okay.
And it's going to start over here, I think. A little bit after. Good.
Second, liars tend to be more negative because, on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing."
That's it. That's the second pattern. Let me play it one more time, and you're going to explain what is this pattern about and what's the reason behind it.
Second, liars tend to be more negative because, on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. For example, a liar might say something like, "Sorry, my stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing."
So that's it. What can you tell me about this second pattern then, Whitney?
Okay, that second pattern is the lying are in negative.
Okay, let's go deeper. If you say the lying are negative, it means that you're saying that the statement or the sentence of lying is negative, right? Or you want to say that the liars are negative.
Uh,
Which one?
the lie,
Is the
the liars.
Okay, yeah, exactly. A liar is going to be the person who lies, and lying is the action of lying. All right, a lying can be that sentence that is telling a lie. All right.
Okay, okay, I understand. And sorry, is the lying is in negative.
Okay, so you say that the lying. In which way do you say that the lying is negative?
Uh, or it's better say the lie is in negative usually when the liars talk with other person.
All right. And do you say that they are using negative sentences, or are you talking about the effect, the emotion related to being negative? What are you talking about? Negative sentences or being negative?
Negative sentences.
All right. If we analyze this, it says, for example, this is something that a liar is going to say, right? My stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing. So, what do you think about this? This is something a liar is saying. Is this a negative sentence, or is this a sentence that is affirmative, but the person who is saying this sentence is negative, it's aggressive? What do you think?
Okay, in this example, I think the person is in negative.
Is being negative, exactly.
Is
Because if you say in negative, it's like you're describing a sentence, all right? You don't have to say it in negative, you have to say perhaps the person is being negative, all right? Or the person is negative in the sense that the person is a little bit aggressive, all right? And it's negative because that person cannot see the positive side of what's happening. And in other words, the people who lie are aggressive. So let me show you this to finish the conversation. It says, look over here, here. Liars tend to be more negative. So they don't use negative sentences according to this second. Okay, we have two more. We're going to watch this in the next conversation with me. But here, liars are more negative. They tend to be more negative. It means aggressive, very negative, very aggressive. Why? Because on a subconscious level, they feel guilty about lying. All right? And as this is subconscious and they don't know about that, they get angry and they don't understand why. That's why when you speak with someone who is lying, he's not going to explain you, right, this very calmly. He's not going to say, hey, look, I couldn't do it because of this and that. No. A liar is going to say, you know, my stupid battery, right, died. That's why I couldn't explain, right? What's happening to you? Why are you like this? So a liar tends to be aggressive, tends to be negative because they feel guilty when they lie. And that's actually why they say things like, sorry, right? My stupid phone battery died. I hate that thing because this person is lying and he doesn't want to give a coherent explanation, right? And that's behind it. I don't know if you understand this explanation and this second pattern with me.
yes, I understand well.
Good. Now, to finish, please, this, can you summarize this last pattern very shortly with me? What can you tell me then about this second pattern? Very shortly.
Only of the second part.
Yes, only the second one. And in the next conversation, you're going to tell me the two, and we're going to add the next two.
Okay. Usually the liars tend to be more aggressive, and that is because their subconscious level um, feel feel quality about lying. Sorry, guilty about lying.
Sorry, very good with yes, that's it. They are more aggressive, they are more negative because in a subconscious level, they feel guilty about life. That's it. So let's stop the conversation here, please, with me. Again, we're going to continue with this conversation to see the other two patterns, all right, in the next one. But that's it for today. Thanks for being in this conversation. And just in case, I'm copying and I'm pasting the link of this video in the chat so that if you want to keep watching it, you can do it by yourself. But again, we're going to watch together the next two patterns in the next conversation. Okay?
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.
Bye bye.
Bye. Hello, Melissa. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hello, Jose Luis. Yes, everything okay.
That's great, Melissa. Sorry for making you wait. I wanted to take advantage of that time. I think that Whitney was not able to be in the last conversation because of the problems, right, related to her family. That's why I wanted to take advantage of that. So let's begin this with you, Melissa. I have a new topic also related to music. And I think that this can be interesting because we're going to be seeing some words related to reading music, all right, related to reading music. You were asking about some details about that last time, at least at one word. But here we're going to be learning a lot more words, all right, that a musician is going to use. And perhaps it's going to be helpful for you to have knowledge about reading music and understanding what musicians do when they do it. So let's begin. First, it's going to be the introduction. Try to pay attention to the comparison that they are going to make with acting, okay? And what actors do and what musicians do that is similar. So let's listen to it.
When we watch a film or a play, we know that the actors probably learned their lines from a script, which essentially tells them what to say and when to say it. A piece of written music operates on exactly the same principle. In a very basic sense, it tells a performer what to play and when to play it. Aesthetically speaking, there's a world of difference between, say, Beethoven and Justin Bieber. But both artists have used the same building blocks to create their music: notes. And although the end result can sound quite complicated, the logic behind musical notes is actually pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at the foundational elements to music notation and how they interact to create a work of art.
Good. So that's the introduction. What can you tell me about this introduction, Melissa? If you can tell me about the similarities between acting and doing music related in the first part and the rest of the information, please.
Okay, what I got to hear was that actors have scripts to know what to say and when to say it, and musicians have the the sheet uh, the sheet music, I think it was, where the notes where they have the notes that tell them what to play and when to play it. And even if artists like Beethoven or, I don't know, Mozart and Justin Bieber or other pop artists are different in terms of genre or styles, both all of them write the music with notes, and that's the same foundation to write their songs.
Good. That was great, Melissa. So yes, that's the name of that element. It's sheet music, right? Also, there's like another name, but the difference is that sheet music is like the general name, right? This is like sheet music. You have other thing that is like score. And what is a score? A score is like a bigger compilation of sheet music, okay? Scores are usually written for orchestras, something like that. But sheet music is very specific, all right? It's very specific, and it's this thing that you are watching here. So having that information, yes, that's the similarity, right? Reading scripts for actors, reading sheet music for musicians, and some other similarities that relate bigger interpreters, right, like Beethoven, Mozart, and other pop artists that we have today, but they use the same music notation. So let's learn more about music notation. And what is it? Music notation is writing this, creating this, using all those elements to write and create music. So let's go.
Music is written on 5 parallel lines that go across the page. These 5 lines are called a staff, and a staff operates on 2 axes, up and down and left to right. The up and down axis tells the performer the pitch of the note, or what note to play, and the left to right axis tells the performer the rhythm of the note, or when to play it.
Okay, so that is the first explanation, Melissa. What can you tell me about this first element to understand music notation?
I think, I don't know if it's correct, but the word is staff.
Very close. Actually, it's a word that is similar to the ones you use a lot in companies and enterprises. It's going to be staff, right? Staff. Let me show you over here. There you go.
Staff, okay, staff, and there are two elements that we can see there. Up and down is the pitch, and left to right is the rhythm. I
Good.
don't know.
Yes, correct. And what do you think it's the pitch? What is the pitch in music, Melissa? And
Mm,
because he was saying other words, right? What tells you
mhm.
the pitch and what tells you the rhythm?
For me, the pitch is like it's low or high, like, for example, the tone of a voice, or the if the sound is deeper or higher in a scale. I don't know if
Good.
that's the word. And the rhythm is like the beat, or uh, like at the time where it will be a new or a different sound or note.
Good, good. I think that was very well explained, Melissa. And yes, you were right. The pitch is related to how low or how high a note is going to be, right? That's the pitch. Very well. And yes, the rhythm is time, right? When you're going to play that note that can be in a low pitch or in a high pitch. Very well. That is how you read a staff. All right. So this is a staff. And a staff is also part of sheet music, right? You have a lot of staffs in sheet music. Let's keep learning about this. We have more information about music notation. It's the pitch, it's the rhythm. There you go. Let's continue.
Let's start with pitch. To help us out, we're going to use a piano, but this system works for pretty much any instrument you can think of. In the Western music tradition, pitches are named after the first 7 letters of the alphabet: A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. After that, the cycle repeats itself: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and so on. But how do these pitches get their names? Well, for example, if you played an F and then played another F higher or lower on the piano, you'd notice that they sound pretty similar compared to, say, a B. Going back to the staff, every line and every space...
Okay, before going to that part, because it can get more like specific, and here, right, they are explaining in bigger detail, right, what's pitch. So what can you tell me in this part, Melissa?
That for in English, but because it's not the same in Spanish, the notes are named after the letters of the alphabet, the first ones from A to G, and that doesn't change even if the pitch is high or low. There are the same letters, and they sound very similar if you play the same note or the same letter in a different tone or if it's in a high or low pitch, but it doesn't sound the same if it's another note.
Okay, yes, very good. That's because we have in total like 12 different pitches, right? In music, in Western music, we have 12 different pitches. And after we finish with the 12, we go back to the first one again. But it's going to be higher or it's going to be lower, right? And yes, they use this, they call it like the American notation. They use the letters of the alphabet. But for solfege, do you know what solfege, Melissa?
Mm, I think I know the word in Spanish, but I think when you sing the notes.
Yeah, correct. That is solfege. There are many kinds of solfege, but you sing the notes, right? In one kind of solfege, you have to like imitate the pitch. There are other kind of solfege in which you only read the notes, but you don't imitate it. All right. So yes, that's solfege. And in solfege, this is interesting. They use something similar to Spanish. They say do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, but the difference is the C. It's not going to be C. It's going to be T. All right, so it's going to be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and they go back. And there are some other interesting differences, but yes, in music notation, they use letters of the alphabet, but when they are working with solfege, they use this notation that is similar to Spanish with a small difference. That is the B in this case, all right? Because B is going to be considered as T. So C is do, right? D is re, E is mi, and so on and so forth. Now, let's keep watching. I don't know if you have any questions about this part of the video to keep watching it, Melissa.
Okay, so even if also in American notation, do would be C.
Yes, exactly. Even, and look, there's an explanation, all right? I'm really into music. I love music. They use A as the start because all Western instruments, all right, are tuned in A, and that's a frequency. It's 8440, all right? 8440. They tune all the instruments, piano, guitar, all the instruments that you know are tuned in A. That's why for them that's the first note. Okay, but actually the one that we know as do, it's C. All right, so it's C, D, E, F, G, A, B. It's the same as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. And then you go back to C, which is again do. All right, that's the way it works. It's very efficient, all right? It's very efficient to work in that way with this American notation. Many other countries have been adapting this way of reading and working with music because, you know, English is always more effective than other languages. And in music, they also try to be more effective and they don't want to lose time with other kind of things. And you're going to see if you do some research, Melissa, that even those notes in solfege change when they are sharp or flat. Okay, sharp is like a semitone higher, and flat is a semitone lower. All right. For example, it can be this note here can be T, right? This is T. But if it's like lower, they are going to read it as T. And if it's higher, they are going to read it as with a different vowel. So it changes so that they don't need to say sharp or flat. So it's very effective, very efficient, and it's very interesting. But again, the main idea here is this one, right? American notation uses the alphabet to identify the pitches. And yes, there's a similarity between similar pitches. So let's continue. We have a lot more information over here. And this is the last one to have the last part of the conversation.
Back to the staff, every line and every space between two lines represents a separate pitch. If we put a note in one of these lines or in one of these spaces, we're telling a performer to play that pitch. The higher up on the staff a note is placed, the higher the pitch. But there are obviously many, many more pitches than the 9 that these lines and spaces give us. A grand piano, for example, can play 88 separate notes. So how do we condense 88 notes onto a single staff? We use something called a clef. A clef is a weird-looking figure placed at the very beginning of the staff, and it acts like a reference point telling you that a particular line or space corresponds to a specific note on your instrument. If we want to play notes that aren't on the staff, we kind of cheat and draw extra little lines called ledger lines and place the notes on them.
Okay, until that part, because there's a lot of information. What can you tell me about this part, Melissa?
That there are a lot of notes. For example, in a grand piano, there are like more than 80 notes. To know where to play or how which notes to play, we use a clef that identifies the notes that we will need to play, and if there are not enough lines in the staff, we add, I don't know that, I don't remember the name, but it was like clef lines or something
Very
like that.
close. Okay, continue. I'm going to tell you later. Continue.
For example, if we need to play lower notes, or I don't know if you can add to the add those lines to the higher part,
To the top, you can
but
say.
to the top. But I've already saw them in the lower part of the stuff.
Good, very good. Yes, so yeah, everything was great. There are a lot of notes, and we cannot like condense all those notes in one, you can say in one staff. That's why, for example, piano uses two staffs at the same time, right? One with the G clef and the other one with the F clef. All right, this is the G clef, and also we have the F clef. The G clef is going to tell us that the G note is in the second line, right? And the F clef, that is different, is going to tell us that the F note is in the fourth line. And answering to this is called ledger line, all right? Ledger line, like L-E-D, all right, G-E-R. And yes, you can add ledger lines, all right, to the bottom of the staff or also to the top. It's advisable to add only 4 ledger lines. Okay, after 4 ledger lines, you need to use other kind of notation. For example, you can indicate that you're going to play an octave. So you write it here, but you write here octave. It means that you need to play these notes like a pitcher that is higher or lower. All right, that's what they can do when they don't want to use a lot of ledger lines. But good, that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about this part of the video or in general, Melissa. Please let me know if you do.
No, it's okay.
Good, great. That's it. We're going to try to continue watching because the elements that are going to mention later on are very interesting, and we're going to go again to a different topic related to music. I don't know if these kind of topics are also part of your interest, Melissa. This kind of information is kind of useful or interesting for you.
Yes, I've been learning a lot, especially vocabulary related to music, which is what I was thinking about when I suggest this topic.
Good. That's great then. Then we're on the right track, right? We're doing it great. Thanks again then, Melissa. Thanks for being in today's conversation, and I'll see you tomorrow in class. All right?
Okay, good night.
Have a good
Bye.
night. Bye bye.